What's going on out there, American truckers? Hope everybody's doing great, staying safe, and staying out of trouble. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. All that fun stuff that YouTubers say. This here's some drone footage from up in Minnesota, I believe just outside of St. Paul. There was a snowstorm coming. The wind was blowing pretty good. And I just kind of wanted to try the drone out. I didn't get it too far from me. I kind of run it around this area. But I wanted to see how it would do in this wind. And the wind was blowing pretty good. And I crashed it at the end, but it's okay. Everything's fine. At the very end, I crashed it. Trying to be lazy, I tried to catch it with my hand. I brought it all the way up to the window of my truck, tried to catch it with my hand. What I forgot about was the sensor on the bottom. So when I threw my hand underneath it, it shot the drone up away from my hand from that sensor. And then the wind caught it a little bit. And as I was bringing it back down, it didn't come right back down on target. Ended up missing it, fumbled it around, and, well, it crashed. Crash landing is what happened. All right, let's get into this. We're going to talk about Poly Trucking. Before I do, though, a little disclaimer. I do not represent Poly. Poly doesn't sponsor me. I don't have anything to do with Poly in that fashion. I just simply work here. If you got a question about Poly or any of its affiliates, you're going to have to call Poly, because I don't have any answers for anything like that. All I can tell you about is my experience. That's all I'm here for, is my personal experience with Poly. Now I'm going to tell you the good and the bad, like I always do, and give you the whole 9 yards. A buddy of mine that came over here, a guy I really like, he got terminated. I'm going to talk about that too here towards the end a little bit. But first, let's get into the good about Poly. We're going to get that out of the way. Poly has changed some things. We don't have to write down state line crossings anymore. So that's made our paperwork a little bit easier to do. Also, I think starting in November, they're going to pay us for all stops. I think it's $30 a stop. At the present time, we get paid for all of them except for the first stop and Poly yards. So now in November, we'll start getting paid for all stops, even the Poly yards. So that'll add a little bit of money there. And I think they are also working on trying to do the mileage, setting up some kind of system where they'll get our mileage weekly and then pay us weekly. Because here we're paid by the hub, which is one of the things I do love about Poly. We're paid by the hub mile. So we get paid for what we drive. You know, not like some of these companies pay you zip code to zip code and you drive for free on both ends. Or the ones that tell you it's practical miles and it's nowhere near practical. You know, the only way they could have got those miles is if they routed you through a neighborhood somewhere, right? No, here we get paid actually what we drive, period. Now, with that same thing in mind, you can't go circling around a parking lot for hours and thinking you're going to get those miles, because they know how far it is from place to place. And what they do is they give you a 10% variance. As long as you're within 10% of that, they'll pay you for whatever you drive. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you go over that, there's got to be a reason. Like you went around an accident, road closure, something like that. They don't tell us what route they want us to go. You just go the shortest route. And that's that. I have yet to have a problem with them on the mileage at all. All right. Now I'm going to get into my experience at Poly. Some of it good, some of it bad. The money's great. The money is awesome. The treatment from them is awesome. They talk to us with a lot of respect, treat all of us drivers well. I really appreciate that. Most of the plants do the same as well. I've had a couple little issues, mainly up north. They're a little bit different up there in Minnesota. We all know that. Anybody who's been driving knows that. But let me tell you, I had a couple of rough weeks. I mean, when I came off of home time, I had a couple of really rough weeks. Let me tell you about that. I had a couple of rough weeks when I came back from home time. My truck was due for a PM, and I had some other issues. Every day, I put my truck in the shop for the PM and the other issues, and every day they would tell me, well, we think we'll fix it tomorrow. I would think we might be done with it tomorrow. A week. I said a week. And finally my patience was running out. And then after sitting for a week, they tell me that there's a part that the truck needs that's on national back order, and they have no idea when they're going to get it. So I go and look at the loaner trucks, and I'm just like, man, I really don't want to take one of these loaner trucks. They're not the best. That's all I'm going to say about that. But then you'll find out why here in a minute. But anyway, I kind of start getting frustrated, and they worked with me. I mean, they did a solid. They did something they didn't have to do. They went and pulled the part off of another truck that isn't being used and changed out that part on the truck. Now, mind you, I had a load sitting there the whole time, and it was a plant load, so it wasn't on a schedule or nothing like that. So they're like, all right, we got you your truck back. You're good to go. Cool beans. I was freaking happy. I was so excited. I was finally getting off of that Grand Prairie yard, right? So I go out there, get the truck, check everything out. Everything seems good. To PM it, go hook it up to the trailer, PM it with the trailer. Everything seems good. Get my paperwork caught up, take off. I made it about 120 miles. I made it to Tyler, Texas. Transmission went out, broke down. They towed me back to Grand Prairie. And I was a little bit embarrassed with the tow truck driver because he knew the yard better than I did there in Grand Prairie. I mean, he had been there many times, many times. But anyway, I get dropped back off at the yard, and the next day I get moved off into a loaner truck. Well, I go find a loaner truck and get moved into it. And I found the newest one I could find, thinking, well, maybe this would be my best shot. Hook up to that, go hook back up to my load, and find out that the truck that broke down is going to have to go to the dealership because it's something internal. So now I'm a little bit frustrated because I don't know how long I'm going to be in this loaner truck, right? So I hook up to my load, and I didn't even make it off the yard, and that loaner truck broke down. At that point, I had it. I mean, I was at the end of my rope, and I wasn't handling that stress very well. You know, a big key to success in life is how you handle stress. And at that point, I wasn't doing a very good job. I was failing miserably at handling that stress. So I sent my supervisor, I sent everybody a message and said, look, this truck didn't make it off the yard. It's already broke down. My other truck is broke down. It's going to the dealership. No telling when it's coming back. It's got an internal problem with the transmission. And before y'all go thinking I shifted wrong, it's an automatic. So it ain't got nothing to do with me. But anyway, I had lost it. So I was like, I'm getting a hotel room tonight. I don't want to talk to nobody. And I'll be back in the morning. We'll try it again. And if you fellow drivers know, man, changing trucks sucks. It absolutely sucks. I hate changing trucks. Moving all your stuff out of one and into another, and then knowing you're going to have to do it again. I mean, it just sucks. So I go get a room. I get away from it. I went and played with my drone a little bit there in Dallas and just kind of got away from it, away from trucking and away from the yard for a while. Kind of reset myself and get my attitude back right. Get my attitude back proper, right? Well, next day I go back to the yard. And I'm going to the loaner trucks again because I need a truck. And they did me another solid. They moved me into another permanent truck. You know, it isn't a loaner truck. They said, here, go ahead and take this one. This one's been checked out. It's in pretty good shape, so take it. And I've been in that one, and I haven't had a whole lot of problems. The heater doesn't work. I mean, the heater works when the truck's idling, but the bunk heater doesn't work. That's been the only real issue I've had with this truck. But yes, if you're coming to Poly, you need to understand. I mean, the majority of the fleet is internationals. They're international LTs running Cummins motors. They And as all of you drivers know, Internationals and Volvos both, they break down a lot. You know, I mean, we all know if you're working for a company that's got Internationals or Volvos, they're going to break down a lot. My only disappointment with the breakdowns here is I've had more breakdowns. I had two or three there in that little week or two span of time. And that is about the same as I've had in the previous 13 years. So, as you can tell, I was a little bit frustrated. And, I mean, that really isn't Paulie's fault. That's got a lot to do with COVID and shortage of parts and all that kind of stuff. That's got the whole system all jacked up. You know, if I had my way, we'd have Kenworths or Freightliners or something in here, but I'm not the owner. I just work here. You know what I'm saying? We do have Peterbilts, and I don't know what kind of luck the Peterbilt drivers are getting. I've yet to talk to any of them to see if they're breaking down a lot. They run the exact same motors, the exact same setup as these Internationals do. But for some reason, I don't know if it's International, if it's just the way that they engineer things or what. But for some reason, and it's not just here, it's anywhere I've ever seen Internationals, they just tend to break down a lot. They have a lot of breakdowns out of Internationals. I know they're cheaper trucks. Some companies will buy a few of them, but when I was at Crete, they were buying Internationals at one time, and then it just got to where their downtime, because Crete kept calculated up their downtime. They kept track of all that kind of stuff. And the money it was costing them for their trucks to be down wasn't worth how much the truck how much they were saving by buying that truck, right? So they just quit buying them. They went to mostly Cascadias, but they bought a few Kenworths as well. But that's a 6,000 fleet truck. This 6,000 truck fleet. This fleet here is a whole lot smaller than that. But some drivers, man, and I know myself, I've quit companies, and that's kind of a problem in our industry. It's way too easy to change jobs. Like you can literally change jobs in the time it takes to do a 34-hour reset. And I think that's just a little bit crazy. But all in all, I'm pretty happy at Paulie. The money's been great. The treatment is great. There is a truck issue. There is that for sure. So be prepared for that if you come to Paulie. The breakdowns can be an issue. But I have talked to some drivers, and they don't seem to have. They just get the luck of a draw, get a good truck. I've just had a really, really bad run. They did pay me for that week off that I was waiting for that week, not week off, but week I was waiting to get the truck fixed. So that was cool. So it wasn't a total loss. And I'm looking forward to the changes, all them kinds of things. Now let me get into the buddy of mine that got fired, man. I felt really, really bad for him. I was the one that kind of talked him into coming here, so I felt horrible when he got terminated. I will say, though, I was kind of shocked, and then I kind of wasn't at the same time, First, he had gotten a ticket up in Washington, and it was a distracted driving ticket, I believe, or cell phone usage, whatever it is when you get a cell phone ticket. A cop claims he saw him on his phone, so he wrote him a ticket. Now he's fighting that ticket, and he told me he wasn't on the phone, so I wasn't there, but he is fighting that ticket, and hopefully he beats that ticket. He also then, less than a month later, he's coming through Arlington, gets pulled over for an inspection. The cop writes him up again, says that he has his phone mounted up and he's watching videos on it. He also writes him up for doing 69 in a 60. Also not having his foreman manner, not having his paperwork and stuff on his logs. I think not having his trailer on his logs, and not having the little pamphlet that we're supposed to carry for these e-logs, right? Got him for like 5 or 6 different things. But I think what did it in was 2 cell phone accusations in less than a month. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what the company was looking at. I don't know. I'm just putting myself in their shoes. And if it were me and it was, I'm looking at a driver's history, that would probably raise some alarm with me as well. Don't know if I'd have fired him. I probably would have suspended him. But hey, that's their deal. That's their policy. And to be honest with you, some companies out here will fire you on the very first time you are accused of using a cell phone while driving, right? We all know that. But he's off to work in the oil field. He got him a job driving I believe a belly dump, hauling frac sand. So he's moving on. Everything's fine. Everything's worked out for him. And I do wish him all the best where he goes. Hope everything there works out. I believe he also made a video about it, kind of talked about it a little bit. But I still felt bad for him, and I do hope that he does well wherever he goes and whatever he does. Poly has been pretty decent to me. I think they're an alright company. Every company's got their issues. Every company's got their ups and downs. I've been in companies where the trucks never broke down, but they treated us like crap. I've been in companies where the trucks never broke down, but they didn't have any miles. They just didn't have any coverage, didn't have, enough to keep drivers busy. So it's half a dozen one, a dozen the other, you know what I'm saying? But so far, still here, still doing my thing, still learning poly as well. I'm sure they're still learning me. And I really do appreciate them going above and beyond a couple different times to try to fix the situation and try to make it better, because some companies won't. You know how that goes. Sorry about the ruffling. I got my jacket on because I'm not idling my truck while I make this voiceover here, and my bunk heater's out. Once I get done with this, I'll turn the truck back on. I can take this jacket back off. It's a little chilly. We're expecting some snow up here where I'm at here as well tonight. But just wanted to kind of update everybody on poly and let y'all know about the changes that have taken place and the changes that are coming. I appreciate all of y'all that support the channel and help me out over here in my endeavors. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I appreciate everything. Let's all stay safe. Remember, we are all family, even if we are a bit dysfunctional. And even the special needs drivers, we're all family, right? Y'all take care, stay safe, and keep trucking.